Hey there folks, Tower Tech here. We're continuing our home automation journey, taking a look at the Ring Floodlight Cam. Let's get into it. So unfortunately, the spatter break-ins has continued on my road. In fact, we have a Facebook group where we share details of information that's happening on the road, events, and unfortunately the mainstay of the thread at the moment is the latest break-in attempt. Actually, someone sat in their home last night, watching television with their partner. Someone opened the door, their dog barked when whoever the intruder was heard the dog bark, shut the door, and then they legged it. Now that's scary. And unfortunate that that hasn't actually happened to me, but not wanting to be complacent, building on the Ring Doorbell 2 that we installed a couple of weeks ago, I've actually got a number of different security cams from different manufacturers, different models, dotted around the house. And in the next kind of couple of weeks or so, I'm going to do a string of review and comparison videos so that you can get a sense of which one is right for you. And the Ring lineup's actually getting quite diverse now. So, you know, they've got 3 different doorbell types: the Ring Pro, the original Ring doorbell, and the Doorbell 2. And they've also got a myriad of different wired and battery powered camera devices that you can install in your home. This one came out in about November, so it's been out for a little while now. And it's probably fair to say that this is a little bit more complex from an installation perspective than certainly some of the battery powered devices. It's a hardwired device, and I think principally was designed to replace your existing floodlight if you had one attached to your garage, on the back of your house going over your garden, something like that. And it's probably fair to say it's principally a wiring job if you have an existing floodlight. I didn't have an existing floodlight, so I've actually had to drill a hole all the way through the wall of my garage in what felt like the use of the most manly drill bit ever. I mean, this thing was this long, and no, I'm not compensating for something before you ask. And that was quite a job. That was quite a beast. It was up a ladder. I wanted this thing set up high, and it was a little bit disconcerting drilling a massive hole through quite a thick wall with a massive drill bit halfway, well, in fact, all of the way up a ladder. I then needed to feed some electrical cable through that hole, but it's probably fair to say if you don't know what you're doing with electrical wiring and installation, do go get yourself a competent and qualified professional. It was relatively straightforward then actually to wire that up in the garage. I was lucky I had a lighting circuit that was quite near to the hole that I created. And it's probably also worth saying at this point in time, try and do your hole at a slight angle so that if you do get any ingress of water, that stuff's going to run down and out of the hole. It's unlikely to do that. It should all seal quite tightly, but good practice would be to drill at an upward angle, as in the higher bit of that angle being on the inside of the wall, the lower bit being on the outside, so any water ingress won't run down into that hole into whatever building that you're drilling into. So once you've got your wire fed through, making sure that of course the mains are disconnected at this point, and make sure you leave yourself a generous length of wire hanging out the other side. You need to fit the back plate to the wall. Back plate has got a rubber grommet in it. Do keep that in. Cut yourself a little slit in there and slide that over the wire. That will help keep a weatherproof sealing on the device, and line up the holes. I made a mistake at this point when I drilled the holes into the wall. I assumed that the holes needed to be perfectly horizontal, and then actually realized after I'd attached the base plate, looked at the unit itself, it's actually the 2 screws that protrude out that actually need to stay horizontal, so make sure you avoid that mistake. I had to re-drill the holes, otherwise my entire light would have been skew with at a strange angle. Once you've got the base plate attached, making use of the included raw plugs, as we call them in the UK, and screws, there's a helpful little hook that's included in the box that allows you just to hang the light off of the back plate when it's attached to the wall. That allows you then to do the wiring up. Definitely attaching the earth wire was the fiddliest part of the whole installation. There's a screw that's buried quite far down inside the device. That was definitely quite fiddly, should I say. The live and the neutral, as we call them in the UK, brown for live, blue for neutral, in new money. that was relatively straightforward. So there's just a terminal block in there, just using a jeweler screwdriver and just clamping those down. There's a helpful clamp that's inside the back plate that you've attached to the wall so that you can clip that terminal down into the back plate when you want to come and fit the light back on there. That actually made the whole process of making sure that the wires were out of the way a hell of a lot easier when you're actually pushing the light back onto the back plate. Do make sure that the weatherproof grommet that sits around the exterior part of the back plate is in place and sealed over so that when you push the light down on there, you've got a weathertight seal. You won't get any water ingress. Electricity and water generally don't play too nicely together. Once you've actually got the light fitted on, there is an orange screwdriver that's included in the box. You can pull the screwdriver bit out of that, and there's a couple of bolts then that screw down on those screws. You can pop those bolts actually really helpfully in a simple way into the handle of the screwdriver, so you can actually apply some pressure and actually get that to bite down. Once all of that's complete, the hard work really is done. It's a case of repowering up your circuit and following the installation process. You need to download the Ring app if you don't have it. And I have to say the app's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with the app. It works, which is better than can be said for some of the home automation stuff I've bought recently. Yale, I'm talking to you. And it's intuitive. It's easy to set the devices up. They connect relatively quickly. I've definitely found the wired devices perform a little bit better than the battery devices. And this setup process really was quite simple to do. Just clicking on the big cross add device, select the device that you're adding. It pairs your phone with a temporary Wi-Fi signal that gets broadcast from the device. That then allows you via the app to actually connect to your home broadband. Now, depending on where you've located the device, you may get some low or poor Wi-Fi signal warnings. I certainly did. I'm quite fortunate that I've set up a mesh network. I've got a number of access points dotted around my property, so I was just able to reposition one of those, and that sorted out the poor Wi-Fi really quickly. And pretty much once you've done all that, you're good to go. You can live view the camera. It's a great quality picture. It's a 1080p. It is a wide angle lens, so you do get some fisheye effect around the sides, but you know, it's a security cam. It's what it's designed to do, giving a great wide viewing angle, making sure that you've positioned the camera properly so that the horizontal bit of the sensor is horizontal with the ground, and by that I mean there is a dome, there is a piece of plastic that dome sits on. That needs to be horizontal with the ground. That gives quite some range, actually. I think it was something like 30 feet that will activate to. And this thing is sensitive, actually, as I've been getting all the camera gear set up for this video. It's actually been picking up me moving around inside the house, so it's pretty sensitive. May actually have to put some blinds on that window to stop that from happening. Yeah, and great picture quality. You can you've got two-way communication like all of the other Ring devices, and you know, the thing that really appealed to me on this, it's got a 110 decibel siren, which is just fantastic. You know, that's going to scare the bejesus out of anyone who's leapt the fence and is in my back garden. You know, in a combination of the lights coming on, and I should say those lights are powerful. They fill my entire garden. I was a skeptic because they're quite diddy actually when you take it out. But they most definitely fill the garden. So the combination of those lights going on, two-way communication, you know, you telling someone to get the hell out, and then sending a 110 decibel siren that your neighbours are definitely going to hear, certainly in the middle of the night, I think it's a winning combination. The likelihood of which is you are never going to need it, right? So a camera or two of these dotted around your house, sticking one of the included Ring video audio surveillance stickers in your window, it's a deterrent, right? It's gonna, you know, thieves are opportunists. They're going to go to the next house. They're going to leave you alone. The irony of these devices is having them is the thing that puts people off. But I have to say, it's been really useful at spotting when my dog has done a poo in the garden. My dog has a particularly nasty habit. He's a black Labrador, and he has a bit of a tendency to want to eat his own feces, so spotting that he's trying to do that on the camera, which of course activates when he goes out, is fantastic. So if anything, it's stopped my dog doing disgusting things and then coming in and licking family members. So one tick up there for the device. I also think that the ability to set different motion zones is really great. You can set multiple zones and you can switch those zones on and off. You can also schedule the time that you want to detect activity, and you can actually select the frequency by which you want to be alerted. It's good enough that it can distinguish between people and just kind of random stuff blowing around, so you can pull that slider all the way to the left for I just want to be alerted, if there's a bad guy in my back garden or walking up to my garage, wherever you've got the device, all the way to the right, which is I want to hear absolutely everything. I've got mine all the way to the right. We live in the middle of nowhere. There really shouldn't be too much going on in our back garden. I have to say it's very responsive. I have found with some of the battery-powered cameras, both the doorbells and the spotlight camera, haven't done a review of that yet, that's yet to come. They're not always particularly responsive when you hit the live view, and there's certainly when they detect the motion, there's a startup time. These things go into a deep sleep mode, presumably to preserve battery life. No such problems here with the floodlight, and because it's hardwired, it's continuously recording. It seems to kind of keep 2 or 3 seconds in a continuous loop. It's obviously got some sort of buffer inside there, so that when it detects motions, what it actually uploads to the cloud is always 2 or 3 seconds worth of video before the motion happened, and then it records basically continuously. It does seem to chunk the videos into 60-second chunks, but if there's continuous motion out in the back garden, it records for the whole of that duration. The cloud plan is also pretty good value for money. You're talking about $3 a month to keep your recordings, and because this thing is motion activated, it's not continuously streaming like some of the other competitor devices like the Nest outdoor cams are continuously recording in 1080p. That can really put quite a hit on your upload speed, and in the UK, our broadband, our internet is nowhere near as good as it is in some other countries. Actually, I've got a pretty good connection. I've got a fiber connection, but I only get 7 megabits per second up. It's using about 0.5 megabit per second, rough estimate. And I stream and stuff like that. So, having a camera that's recording continuously could be detrimental to activity like that. These things are only uploading when they've detected motion, and of course if you're on a plan where you actually have to pay for your data, you don't have an unlimited allowance, then that's a much better choice for you as well. So there we go, quick roundup of the Ring Floodlight Cam. A great product, bit of a chore to install, particularly if you haven't got an existing floodlight just to replace it with, but well worth the money. I have to say, subjective I know, but the unit looks smart, it looks clean, doesn't look obtrusive, it doesn't look like a horrible bit of random tech in your garden. It looks like it should belong, and it looks like a classy product. The whole thing's metal, it just looks and feels fantastic, and even my wife gave it the seal of approval, so high praise indeed. So there we go guys, there is the Ring Floodlight Cam. I hope you're really well wherever in the world you are. Please like and share this video, make sure you're subscribed if you're not, and I will see you in my next one.